Hello everyone! Today in this video, we are going to show you the top 10 most powerful militaries in Europe. But before we begin, it should be noted that total aircraft strength mentioned in the video includes aircraft from Air Force, Navy, and Army. Armored fighting vehicles counts only includes infantry fighting vehicles and armor personnel carriers. Transcontinental countries, which are both located in Asia and Europe, are also included in the list. Let's get started. Number 10. Greece. At present, the Armed Forces of Greece has around 170,000 active military personnel and has a defense budget of around $5 billion. Now coming to land power, the Armed Forces of Greece have over 1,250 main battle tanks, over 3,600 armored fighting vehicles, 550 plus self-propelled artillery, and over 150 multi-launch rocket system. Air power. The Armed Forces of Greece currently has over 570 total manned aircraft, of which around 210 are fighter jets and nearly 220 are helicopters. Currently, F-16 and Mirage 2000 are the main fighter jets of Greece Armed Forces. Naval power. The Greek naval forces currently operate around 110 total naval ships, of which 11 are submarines and 13 are frigates. The naval forces of Greece currently doesn't have any aircraft carriers or destroyers. Number 9. Ukraine. Although most of the countries in Europe are developed, Ukraine is one of the developing countries in Europe. Currently, it has around 250,000 active military personnel, and its military budget stands at around $5.5 billion. Now coming to land power, the Ukrainian Armed Forces currently have over 2,300 tanks, although the majority of which are outdated. Approximately 3,000 are armored fighting vehicles, 700 plus self-propelled artillery, and over 400 multi-launch rocket systems. Air power. The Ukrainian Armed Forces at present has around 300 total manned aircraft, of which around 45 are fighter jets and nearly 150 are helicopters. Currently, MiG-29 and Su-27 are the main fighter jets of the Ukrainian Armed Forces. Naval power. Although small in size, the Ukrainian Navy maintains around 35 to 40 total naval ships. Its naval fleet currently includes 1 frigate, 1 corvette, and many other auxiliary patrol boats and landing craft. The Ukrainian Navy currently doesn't have any aircraft carrier or destroyer. Number 8. Poland. Poland is the 8th most populous country in Europe, and it is the 10th largest economy by GDP nominal in Europe. Currently, the Polish Armed Forces has around 140,000 active military personnel and has a defense budget of around $13 billion. Now coming to land power, the Polish Armed Forces has around 850 plus main battle tanks, over 2,000 armored fighting vehicles, over 500 self-propelled artillery, and nearly 180 multi-launch rocket systems. Air power. The Polish Armed Forces have over 450 total manned aircraft, of which around 80 are fighter jets and over 170 are helicopters. Currently, F-16 and MiG-29 are the main fighter jets of Polish Armed Forces. In addition to this, 32 stealth F-35 Lightning II are on order for Polish Air Forces. Naval power. The Polish Navy at present has around 90 naval ships including auxiliary. Its naval fleet currently includes 3 submarines, 2 frigates, 1 corvette, and many other auxiliary ships. The Polish Navy currently doesn't have destroyer or aircraft carriers. Number 7. Spain. Spain is the 6th most populous country in Europe. The Spanish Armed Forces at present has around 120,000 active military personnel and spends around $13 billion as its defense budget. Coming to the land power, the Spanish Armed Forces have around 320 Leopard main battle tanks, over 800 armored fighting vehicles, 90 plus self-propelled artillery. Air power. The Spanish Armed Forces currently have around 570 total manned aircraft, of which around 150 are fighter jets and 140 plus are helicopters. F-18 Hornet and Eurofighter Typhoons are the main fighter jets of the Spanish Army. Naval power. The Spanish Navy currently has around 140 total naval ships, including minor auxiliary vessels. Its naval fleet currently includes 1 light aircraft carrier, 0 destroyers, 3 submarines, 11 frigates, and many other auxiliary ships. Number 6. Germany. Germany is the second most populous country in Europe and also has the largest economy in Europe. Currently, the German Armed Forces has around 184,000 active military personnel. The defense budget of German Armed Forces stood at around $55 billion. Now, coming to land power, the German Armed Forces currently has around 250 Leopard main battle tanks, around 1,900 armored fighting vehicles, over 100 self-propelled artillery, and 38 multi-launch rocket systems in its inventory. Air power, the German Armed Forces currently has around 700 total manned aircraft, of which around 140 are fighter jet and around 300 are helicopters. Eurofighter Typhoon is the main fighter jets of German Armed Forces. Naval power. The German Navy currently has around 70 total naval ships, including auxiliary vessels. Its current inventory includes 6 submarines, 10 frigates, 5 corvettes, and many other auxiliary ships. The German Navy currently doesn't have any destroyers or aircraft carriers at the moment. Number 5. Italy. Italy is considered to be one of the world's most culturally and economically advanced countries, with the world's 8th largest economy by nominal GDP. Its current armed forces has over 171,000 active military personnel, and its defense budget is around $28 billion. Now, coming to the land equipment of Italian Armed Forces, the Italian Armed Forces has 200 Ariete main battle tanks, over 2,600 armored fighting vehicles, 54 self-propelled artillery, and 21 multi-launched rocket systems in its inventory. Now, coming to the air power of Italian Armed Forces, the Italian Armed Forces have more than 830 aircraft, which include 110-plus fighter aircraft, 400-plus helicopters. Eurofighter Typhoon and F-35 Lightning II are main fighter jets of Italian Armed Forces. Naval strength. The Italian Navy at present has 180-plus total ships. Its naval fleet at present includes 2 light aircraft carriers, 4 destroyers, 12 frigates, 2 corvettes, and 8 submarines. Number 4. Turkey. Turkey is a transcontinental country which is both located in Europe and Asia. Turkey is also one of the most developed and most powerful countries among the Muslim-majority countries. Currently, its armed forces have over 355,000 active military personnel and has a defense budget of around $19 billion. Now coming to the land power of Turkey, the Turkish Armed Forces at present has around 2,500 main battle tanks, over 7,000 armored fighting vehicles, over 1,100 self-propelled artillery, 300-plus multi-launch rocket system. Air power. The Turkish Armed Forces currently maintains around 1,050 aircraft, of which around 240 are fighter jets and over 500 are helicopters. Currently, F-16 is the only main fighter jets of Turkish Armed Forces. Naval power. The Turkish Navy presently has around 190 ships in commission. Its naval fleet currently includes 16 frigates, 10 corvettes, 12 submarines. The Turkish Navy currently doesn't have any destroyer and aircraft carriers. Number 3. United Kingdom. The United Kingdom is the 6th largest economy by nominal GDP and also one of the most advanced nations in the world. It was the world's first industrialized country. The UK is also one of the countries that possess nuclear weapons and is also currently one of the permanent members of the United Nations. Currently, there are 5 permanent members in the United Nations. They are USA, China, UK, France, and Russia. Its armed forces currently have over 150,000 active military personnel, and its defense budget is around $50 billion. Now, coming to the land equipment of the British Army. The British Army at present has 227 Challenger 2 main battle tanks, over 2,300 armored fighting vehicles, 89 self-propelled artillery, 35 multi-launched rocket system. Air strength of the Armed Forces of United Kingdom. The UK Armed Forces at present has 900-plus aircraft, which include 160-plus multi-role fighter jets and 270-plus helicopters. Currently, Eurofighter Typhoons and F-35 Lightning II are the main fighter jets of the UK Armed Forces. Naval strength. The Royal Navy currently operates around 80 ships. Its present fleet of ships includes 2 aircraft carrier, 6 destroyers, 13 frigates, 10 nuclear-powered submarines. Number 2. France. Another one of the most developed countries with a very high Human Development Index in the list is France. France is one of the recognized nuclear weapon states and is also one of the permanent members of the United Nations. Current armed forces at present has over 300,000 active military personnel, and its defense budget at present is around $64 billion. The French armed forces at present has 406 Leclerc main battle tanks, over 3,200 armored fighting vehicles, 120-plus self-propelled artillery, 10-plus multi-launched rocket system. Air strength of French armed forces. The French armed forces currently has a total of 1,250-plus aircraft, of which 190-plus are multi-role fighter jets and over 560 are helicopters. Dassault Rafale and Mirage 2000 are the main fighter jets of France at the moment. Naval strength. The French Navy currently operates around 180 ships and is the only naval force in the world besides USA to operate a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier. Its naval fleet at present includes 1 nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, 3 helicopter carriers, 10 destroyers, 11 frigates, 10 nuclear-powered submarines. Number 1. Russia. Yes, the most powerful country in Europe is a transcontinental country. Russia is both located in Europe and Asia. Currently often regarded as the most powerful military next to the United States, Russia is also one of the permanent members of the United Nations and is known to possess the most number of nuclear weapons in the world. Its armed forces currently has around 900,000 active military personnel, and its defense budget is around $62 billion. Now, coming to the land power of Russian armed forces. The Russian forces have around 13,500 main battle tanks, although mostly are in reserve and are Soviet-era tanks. Over 35,000 armored fighting vehicles, which are mostly in reserve and are old Soviet-era vehicles. Over 5,500 self-propelled artillery and 3,600-plus multi-launched rocket system. Air power. The Russian armed forces at present has around 4,200 aircraft, of which 1,100-plus are fighter jets and over 1,400 are helicopters. Stealth Su-57, Su-35, Su-30, Su-27, MiG-29 are some of the main fighter jets of Russia. Naval power. The Russian Navy currently has around 400 naval ships including auxiliaries. The Russian Navy fleet currently has 1 aircraft carrier, 5 cruisers, currently only Russia and the US have cruiser ships, 11 destroyers, 10 frigates, 78 corvettes, 60 submarines. Thanks for watching.